Would everyone please rise as we recite the council prayer, and remove your caps, please. Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilor Broderick.
Here.
Mayor Caulfield.
Here.
Councilor Elliott.
Here.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Here.
Councilor Lenzi.
Here.
Councilor Martin.
Here.
Councilor Rahman Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Milanazzo.
Here.
9 present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The chair would like to recognize Councilor Rita Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence in darkened chamber for 2 people who died this week. Peter Markham, a prominent realtor who was also very active in senior housing issues. Peter served in the United States Army Reserves. He owned and operated Peter Markham Real Estate in both Lowell and Chelmsford. Peter was a trustee of the Washington Savings Bank and a board member of the Lowell Development Finance Authority and a founding board member of 15 J.C. Place Housing and Roger Hall Housing. He held membership at Vespa Country Club, the Greater Lowell Board of Realtors, and Boston College alumni. He was a lifelong communicant of the Immaculate Conception Church. Surviving him are his brother Edwin and sister-in-law Barbara and many nieces and nephews and cousins. He will be truly missed. And I'd like to offer a moment of silence in darkened chamber for Mazen Alrarad, who died senselessly at the hands of a coward within minutes of leaving his second job at 7-Eleven. He was the husband of Wadia and devoted father to his son Keenan and stepdaughter Linda Lutfi. He also is survived by his mother and father-in-law, Salim and Lila Kabaza of Lowell, a sister in Syria, and we express our sympathy and sorrow to his family. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Michael Lindsay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence and darken the chambers for Valerie Serrault, Lowell general nurse, who died unexpectedly with her family by her side on December 3rd at Brigham and Women's Hospital. She was the wife of Mickey Serrault, with whom she celebrated their 23rd wedding anniversary in September of this year. A daughter of Alexander and Virginia Borodoka of Lowell. She was born on July 28, 1958, in Lowell, and attended Sacred Heart Grammar School and Lowell High School class of 1976. She then earned a nursing degree from Northern Essex Community College. For the past 27 years, she has worked as a registered nurse with Lowell General Hospital, most recently in the ambulatory care unit. Valerie enjoyed cooking, dancing, singing, but most of all, she enjoyed spending time with her family, especially her children. We'll miss her very dearly.
The mayor would also like to offer a moment of silence for Mary Septowski, a loving and gentle woman who cared for her sisters and brothers, a lifelong resident of Lowell. Mary loved her community, church, and was a faithful voter in local, state, and national elections. Mary Septowski was an outstanding citizen of our city, and I was proud to call her a friend. May we have a moment of silence for these 4 wonderful people. Thank you. May they rest in peace. Moving on with the agenda, it is delightful for me and my colleagues on the City Council to recognize those people who made the City of Lights Parade such a success. And this year's parade probably was the greatest, the biggest parade we've ever had. And these recipients who are going to receive these citations this evening, when everything is said and done, I would like everyone to put your hands together and give them a round of applause because they worked extremely hard, made the parade what it is. It brought the economy downtown to a flourishing point, and they worked extremely hard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the verbiage of one citation, and then I'll recognize everyone else, and I explain to everyone if they come in inside the gate, right up along the desk, we'll certainly entertain you. This is the first citation, a perennial winner, and they outdo themselves every single year. Be it hereby known to all that the City of Lowell and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts extends its deepest congratulations to the Greater Lowell Technical High School for achieving the most festive award bestowed by the City of Lowell through a collaboration with Downtown Lowell Business Committee, Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce, Cultural Organization of Lowell, Greater Merrimack Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau, Lowell Festival Foundation, and Lowell National Historical Park. This award is given to individuals for the exemplary work in creating such a beautiful float for the holiday art stroll and City Lights Parade. The entire city commends Greater Lowell Technical High School for their dedication and hard work and wish them the best for continued success given this 9th day of December, the year 2008, by Mayor Caulfield and the entire Lowell City Council. With those representatives of the Greater Lowell Technical High School, please come in to the council chambers. Congratulations to the Greater Lowell Technical High School. The next recipient, they do extraordinary work all year long. They just go above and beyond what's asked for them. Michael Creasy, the superintendent, and everyone who works for the Lowell National Park deserves immense credit. The next winner is the Lowell National Historical Park. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And I just want to stress, that was the mayor's award they won. So, Rita, could you help me? Thank you. The next award, the City Manager's Community Award, this organization has done yeoman service. They have cleaned the Merrimack River from Haverhill right up to Lowell. They continue to do great work and help keep our river clean. Please put your hands together for the Clean River Project Community Award. Thank you. And this award is the City Manager's Community Award, and who better deserves it than Girl Scouts Troop 981. Please come on in. Come on, let's hear it for these kids. Brood Awakening is not here, but let's put your hands together for the People's Choice Window Dressing Award for Brood Awakening. Centro Restaurant is not here, I believe. Centro is not here, and put your hands together for them. They did an extraordinary job. And this next business owner is receiving 2 awards. And with the owner and proprietor of Say, please come through. Give your hands together for this lovely woman. Oh, wait a minute. And Say wins an award for the best hot chocolate downtown. All right? And I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize LZ Nunn and Chris Samaras, the city manager's office, and over 40 volunteers who worked tirelessly to make this parade a huge success, and the sponsors who sponsored that parade. So put your hands together for this wonderful collage of people.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and also City Council members and the City Manager for recognizing not only the award winners, but the local businesses and participants and sponsors who helped make this year's parade, I think, one of the finest on record. So it really took a team effort. On behalf of the Cultural Organization of Lowell, which is the city's arts advocacy organization, along with the Cultural Affairs Office, the Board of Cool has asked me just to come in and say a few words about the cultural economic impact of this year's event. This year we did coordinate a holiday art stroll from 12 to 4 p.m., and it was an idea developed by both Cool and our nonprofit and our partners, including businesses in the National Park and the CVB and many others. This year, in order to do that art stroll, Cool actually received a grant from the Massachusetts Cultural Council for $45,000 for the Destination World Multicultural Arts Series, which is 8 large-scale events, and the art stroll was one of them. So the purpose is really to promote the use of cultural assets as an economic development tool. And this year, for the art stroll, we had not only horse-drawn carriage rides, family activities, a choral concert at St. Anne's Church, the wildly popular hot chocolate competition by Say, and the positive results for this year's event were listed in the report in your packets. So from the surveys, we saw that 35 to 50% was the increase shown for downtown businesses for foot traffic, and sales were boosted by between 20 and 35%. So we just wanted to say thank you for your support in attending the event, in supporting the work of Cool, as well as the new Cultural Affairs Office, which you helped bring into being. And we look forward to continuing these collaborative efforts with our partners for the upcoming Winterfest, which is February 5th through 7th, so mark your calendars. And Frankie Dakota, who is a downtown entrepreneur as well as a member of the Cool Board, can express more articulately than I can the impact of this program on businesses. So Frankie?
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Councilors, groups, City Manager. Got to move this down. So first of all, I want to start by saying thank you very much for all of your support for all of the downtown businesses and the organizations. I'm a very new member to Cool on the Cool Board. I've been to 2 meetings, and so most of this work was already planned before I was able to join, so I didn't help out very much. But I do want to say that the impact this year over every other year, particularly for this event, was significant. Typically, well, this is the first year that Monkeys and Humanity have been open, but typically Mambo Grill, until the parade starts, is slow. And we have considered closing during the day because the streets are shut down and it's slow downtown. This year, the entire day, from the moment we opened, people were coming in, people from out of town. Even during the parade, people were spending money, they were visiting, they were eating. So it was great. In Humanity, which is my first time, all day long people were coming in and spending money and just commenting, most of them from out of town, commenting on how beautiful the city is and the offerings that are available and how great this parade was. So the weather certainly helped, but LZ and Chris and the Cool organization has been great, and I want to thank you again for all of your help and make sure that we do this even better next year and continue with all of the festivals. They do make an impact. Even if it's that one day, it does transfer into the rest of the year. So thank you all for your assistance in that.
Thank you. I'd be remiss if I didn't include all the business owners and the business community. Without their support, we wouldn't have a parade. And there's a litany of people who supported the event sponsors, parade sponsors, specialty unit sponsors. There's a packet in every councilor's packet, so just let it be known when you meet those businessmen and women that we're very thankful. And once again, thanks to the over 40 volunteers who made it possible. Thank you very much. And now it's with great pleasure that I introduce to the podium a good friend of mine who does great work, and the topic that this gentleman would like to speak upon is the WCAP Radiothon for the Salvation Army, and my good friend, Fred Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm here tonight to hopefully rev up the troops for this Saturday, December 13th, on WCAP, the annual Radiothon for the Salvation Army. It's going to start at 6 a.m. We'll go to about 1 p.m. We have an unusual amount of gifts, a lot of great gifts people can call to bid on. If they choose not to bid on an item, they can just call in a donation. We've set a goal this year for $75,000. We raised $68,000 last year, and all that money stays in the community and helps people that need a little help during this particular season, the Christmas season, for gifts, for children, for food items, for all kinds of things. So I want to encourage all of your viewers and listeners, and I want to thank this present City Council and all the past ones for the support they've given to this event. So again, it's this Saturday, December 13th at WCAP. You can listen in, call in, make a bid, or call and make a donation. We're looking for a lot of support. I'm sure we're going to get it. And again, thank you for your past support, and we look forward to your continued support from the whole city of Lowell. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fred. Thank you. Council Rita Mercer.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. We want to thank WCAP and Warren Shaw and you as well, and the team that goes above and beyond to raise funds for those in need. And as you can see, this room here in the council chamber is packed with people who perhaps lost their job or met with unfortunate circumstances, and this money is to make a good Christmas for those that are unable to do that. So having said that, I'd like to start off and challenge my colleagues. I have a check for $100, and I also want to say that I'll be downstairs in front of the Washington Savings Bank ringing the bell. For those that can't make it up all those stairs to WCAP, I'll be taking your money downstairs, so that'll be a good thing. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Fred. And I just want to state that the Salvation Army doesn't just work at Thanksgiving or Christmas. 12 months out of the year, they're helping people 12 months out of the year, and 87 cents of every dollar that is raised goes directly to people in need. With that said, I'll entertain a motion to take something out of sequence. Motion to accept the minutes of the last meeting. Place them on file by Councilor Broderick, second by Councilor Elliott. All in favor, accepting the minutes, place them on file. Signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The minutes have been accepted and placed on file. Now, I'm looking for a motion.
Yes,
Councilor
thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to ask for a suspension of the rules so that we can take something out of order. There's a great majority of people that like to speak on an issue here. Number 15, the petition, Lowell residents address the council regarding the city's homelessness. If I could move for a suspension of the rules to allow them to not be here as long as we have to be here.
Seconded by Councilor Milanazzo. All in favor of suspension of the rules, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Suspensions are in order.
Thank you.
We are going to take the petition regarding the residents to address the council on the homeless. And this was delivered by hand to the office of the city clerk. To the city clerk, in response to recent events around homeless encampments, the following Lowell residents would like to make a brief statement at the December 9, 2008 Lowell City Council meeting. Chad Montre, Mark Cirillo, Rick Pestana, Sheila Kirschenbaum, and Algeria Williams. So those people who are coming forward to speak, please come to the podium.
Hi, good evening. I want to thank you for the time you're giving us to speak tonight.
You're going to have to speak right into that microphone.
Hi.
There you go.
Good evening. I want to thank you for the time you're giving us tonight to speak to you. I'm here with the coalition this evening to talk about the need to address some things like the Rogers Street camp incident on November 20th. We would like alternatives in place to camps being evicted, people forced to lose all their worldly belongings and their dignity. The homeless community also need to have more say with ending homelessness. We understand the city is doing the best they can, but we think working together, we will be able to find an end. Also, housing needs to be put into place where affordable living for all. It will not just benefit the homeless community, but it will also benefit the city. Every morning, when we don't have protocol at breakfast, I watch people coming in from the cold, and the effects to their skin and to those with health problems are worsening. It's hard enough being homeless, but also seeing other homeless people suffering. I just don't have the words to explain my feelings. My name is Eileen. I'm homeless. I'd like to introduce Mark, whom also is homeless, who was a resident at the Rogers Street Tent City on November 20th. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Mark Cerullo. I lived at the tent city that was evacuated on November 20th. It was a home to me. Everyone there was like a family. We all ate together. We took care of the place. We all did our part to keep things running smooth. I became homeless when my business ran into hard times. I am currently working and trying to better myself, but on November 20th, a trash truck was backed up to my site, blowing the air horn, telling us they were told to clean the place out. About 1 hour later, the cops came and told us we had 45 minutes to get out. And told us we got our money's worth. I think the way it was done was not right, and I think that there should be a protocol on how tent cities are evacuated. That's it. Thank you.
My name is Thomas Coughlin. I'm very honored to come before the City Council. Homelessness. The word makes me shudder. The reminder that every night I'll be cold without a blanket, a pillow, or a bed, without a room, without a family, without a home. I often look back and wonder what happened. Once I've reflected on my mistakes for the millionth time, I stop pitying myself. I remember that the poverty rate in Lowell is double that of the state average. I know I'm not alone. I ponder what can be done. How can we help these people? I've got a few ideas. It has been proven to me over time that when someone hasn't got a place to live, they become depressed, and it's difficult to find a job when they don't have a shower or clean clothes available. So what happens to someone who lives on the street, can't get a job, who's depressed, abandoned, lonely, and cold? I don't think there's an official statistic for that, but I can tell you what I've seen. People get complacent. They commit crimes merely so they can eat. They get into drugs or alcohol for the first time, or their drug alcohol problems get worse. Some commit crimes just so they can go to jail for a place to eat and sleep. I couldn't cite every effect of homelessness, but is this not worth the concern? Many of these people have children who not only have to live like this, they also may learn this behavior from their parents, accept it as a way of life. They may influence my child or yours to live insufficiently. There's got to be something we can do. My fellow concerned citizens and I are adamant about helping those in need. We could use a stepping stone to bigger and better things. I'm not here to ask for a new fancy lifestyle for the homeless. We just need an inexpensive temporary solution for Lowell, for these people who are in dire need. Maybe just some help raising money for the shelter's winter protocol. And since these people are content with temporary living in tents, it would be effective and cheap to set up a designated camp for the homeless to stay with a small bathroom and shower. I have faith in the city of Lowell. I've seen it come a long way, and I'm so proud. We need to care for our own, and the homeless are no better or worse than anyone. Those who are hardest to help need it the most, and today I'm asking you to help me help them. All it will take is some hard work, dedication, and for all of us to open our hearts to get some of our brothers and sisters out of the cold, or at least comfortable and secure in the cold. Remember, in this day and age, you never know who is going to end up homeless next. And I do the same for anyone who's going through a nightmare of this magnitude. I, for one, am able and willing to volunteer myself if it will help, and I'm sure any one of my friends here will too. It's time to water what's lacking nourishment. After all, Lowell is a flowering city, and we need to maintain the beauty and health of this garden. Thank you.
Thank you for putting us further up on the agenda. As you can see, we brought
Could we
many
have you
people
address,
here.
please?
We brought many people here. My name
So-
is Chad Montree, and I'm with this group that's up in the balcony, and some people are sitting back behind. And as you said, we've packed this place. I think evident of some concern
Could we
about
just
what's
have
going
your
on.
address?
My address is 96 West Street.
Okay.
I live in Centerville. I've lived here since 2002. I'm a professor at the University of Massachusetts Lowell, and I teach history there. Ever since I moved here, I've been very interested in, as many of you are, in trying to use the public history sites that we have in Lowell as part of its revitalization, as part of making it better, sort of tapping into its important past, tapping into its cultural resources, also doing something with the urban landscape. As part of that, very recently I got involved in a project with the Lowell Parks and Conservation Trust, as well as the Songus Industrial History Center, to work on the Concord River Greenway. Part of a grant that we got to help develop the Concord River Greenway into an outdoor classroom involved doing a documentary film. As part of that documentary film, I interviewed many of the people who lived down at the tent city, the Roger Street camp that people are talking about, which is on the Concord River, because I wanted to make sure that everybody's voices were included and incorporated into the film that we were making about the Greenway. Shortly after that, these people were removed in a way that just baffled me. I mean, I couldn't believe the kind of force, brutality, inhumane approach that was taken to deal with the people who were down there. And it was hard for me because I had myself met with them and talked with them, sat around a campfire with them and laughed with them and told stories with them. And they were human beings to me in a way that oftentimes homeless people are not human beings to us. So that's why I got involved with some of the people up here in the balcony, and why we are here tonight, because we want to use this as an opportunity to begin getting involved with some of the things that you're already doing. And I've talked to Bernie Lynch and Linda King and many other folks, and I know that there is a lot that's happening, but there are some things that also could be done differently, or some things that could be added on and supplemented to what is currently part of the program. First of all, we think that there needs to be an investigation into how this raid took place. Who called the police? Why did they call the police? What was the provoking incident? Because as far as we know, things were fine there a week before. And there are 10 cities in other parts of this, there are 10 cities in other parts of the city that were not cleared out in that way. We also think that there needs, as one of the speakers before me said, there needs to be a police protocol so that this kind of interaction between police and people who are homeless doesn't happen again. It doesn't have to be done this way. People who are outside, who are homeless, who live in these tent cities are reasonable people. You can have a conversation with them. This is not the way to treat them. And it didn't solve a problem. It actually created more problems because they had a place to live, and now they don't have a place to live. There also needs to be a larger role, at the very least a role, if not a larger role, for the homeless in advocating for themselves. Other people don't always need to be making decisions for them. I've talked to them now in many meetings planning for this and for things that we're going to do beyond this appearance at the City Council, and I can tell you they have a lot of good ideas, and you're not hearing all of them. And I think you should hear them. And I think they have a right to have a role in the kind of decision making that's going to determine their fate. Finally, we would like to work with the people who are working on trying to raise money for Winter Protocol. It's very important, and I think we'll continue the conversations that we've opened up with folks about that and see how we can bring people who are here tonight and some people who couldn't come into that effort to raise the funds for this year and the years to follow. And finally, I think myself, part of what prompted me to get involved in this is because I felt a little guilty. I felt a little complicit that I was helping build the greenway along the Concord River, and it didn't really hit me that that was going to have some impact on folks that wasn't all good until they got removed. And I kind of, I guess, feel like I was part of that. And I don't want to be part of something like that. And I don't think we have to have things happen that way. So my suggestion would be that we have, at some point in the next year, a larger citywide conversation about urban redevelopment. Not only the benefits that come from urban redevelopment, but also the things that we could call cost. How does it harm people? How does it cause problems for people? And what can we do about those harms? What can we do about those costs? And I don't think that that has to be something that is about finding out who did what wrong, but rather trying to make Lowell better at urban redevelopment. And in fact, continuing to make Lowell the model that it is in terms of redevelopment. So thank you for listening to us tonight.
Thank you. Did you register to speak, ma'am?
I thought it was you were changing the agenda. I'd like to have
We had 5 people register to speak.
Okay, I'd like to have a minute to speak. I only need a minute.
What's that?
I said I only need a minute.
I'll
I'd like to
suspend
have
the
a minute
rules
to
and
speak.
allow her that minute.
Thank you.
Motion to suspend the rules by Counsel Rita Mercier, seconded by Counsel Broderick. All in favor of the suspension, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The suspension's in order. Give us your name, ma'am, and your address.
My name is Sharon Elizabeth Creamer. I live at 227 Gorham Street in Lowell.
You're going to have to speak right into that microphone if you
I
would.
understand.
Okay.
I used to manage a Radio Shack for 4 years. I'm very familiar with microphones. I would like to reiterate that the homeless, or being homeless, is not a choice. It's something that's forced, and I would like to see us do more to help, as I referred to, my babies. Also, bringing up the Salvation Army, I've recently learned this year that there is a Salvation Army orchestra in California, and I would like to have that looked into further. It's my belief that that is where the money is going, not to help the poor. Thank you.
The chair would like to recognize Councilor James Milanazzo. Did you have something you bring forward?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. What I'd like to do is request that this be referred to the city manager's office for report and recommendation, and to the housing subcommittee. And if the housing subcommittee could meet, say, in 30 days and get an update on the winter protocol, so that we keep this here in the council chambers and keep this in front of us as something that obviously we as a body should be very concerned about. So I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Motion to refer this to the city manager, seconded by Councilor Broderick. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. And I just want to state that City Manager Lynch has worked tirelessly, along with many staff people, volunteers, to address the homelessness in the city. It's a 10-year program, and Manager Lynch is making immense headways with this issue. It's a problem that does not just exist in Lowell. It exists in the state and the country, and the suburbia, not just the city of Lowell, has to roll up their sleeves and help with this problem as well. Manager Lynch, do you want to discuss anything on this particular issue? If not, we're going to move on.
Well, I'll be very brief, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the kind words on the efforts that so many people have volunteered to their time and their energy to work on developing the 10-year plan that the city of Lowell has embarked upon to end homelessness here in the city. And it really is a very complex issue, but it's one that there's good reasons to deal with this in terms of the ethical and the moral reasons, as well as the economic. And we're very pleased with the progress that we've made. More currently, we have an issue that has already been referenced tonight about the fundraising for the winter protocol. I was happy to hear that there's some interest on the part of some of the people here tonight to participate in that. It is an effort that we began a couple of weeks ago to deal with an issue that the Transitional Living Center has in terms of putting that winter protocol back in place. It was put back in place this week. And we're now in the midst of trying to pull together the necessary funds to make that successful. So I certainly appreciate those efforts, and I'll be happy to report this out to the Housing Subcommittee within the next 30 days.
Councilor Rita Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city manager, first of all, I want to compliment you for your 10-year to end homelessness. However, I know you're trying, I don't believe we'll end it. This is living proof here that we're not making too much headways. And I commend the people that are here, because it's not an easy thing to stand before a microphone in full view of the public and the viewing public and say, I'm homeless. It's not something to be proud of. People are hurting, and we see that pain right in this room this evening. I think about 2 days ago when I was lucky enough to have a job and went to work, and it was 13 degrees, and from the time I got to my house to my car, I almost froze to death. I can't imagine living outside, never mind in a tent without any heat. I can't imagine that. I don't understand that. I'm not, I could have just, said we'll refer it to the manager, see you later, bye, but it's a lot more than that for me, because those could be my children, could be my mother up there, could be a relative, and it's quite evident. We can have economic development in this city, but if we don't have a plan to take a tent and wipe it out in 45 minutes and find them a place to stay, then it's my problem, and I'm very upset about it. I know that the police were doing their job, no doubt about it, but we need a plan in place to say that, yeah, maybe in 10 years we'll end homelessness, but what are we going to do about today? Because I certainly didn't want to be outside nor from one place to another in the coldness. I'm not blaming anybody in this room, but I wish I could say we have an answer right now, but you're going to leave tonight without an answer because we don't have it.
Well,
okay, they're alerting us to a very major problem, because tomorrow it may be me. I may lose my job. These people are here not because they're lazy. They're here because perhaps through no fault of their own, they were the working poor. I work in the sheriff's department, and every day people are coming in more than I've ever seen before saying, after 30 years, I just got laid off. After 20 years, I just got laid off. People are getting laid off. I know it's not my fault, but it's my duty to try to find a way to alleviate this problem. And when I think of a hospital called St. Joseph's that has numerous beds and nobody's in them, and we don't have a winter protocol that we can go out and look for people and get them in out of the cold, I'm upset about it, and I'm angry, and I want to do something about it and not just say, thank you for coming here, see you later. We need a plan, and I'm asking and begging that we find a way to do it. And I say to whoever owns that hospital, that was a hospital at one time, in lieu of whoever owns it, in lieu of taxes, could you house people for at least the winter? I don't know. They're human beings, and I'm fearful of it. I'm fearful of the person. We need jobs in the city. It's much bigger than anybody in this room. Please understand that. We all have our hearts in the right place for everybody here, but it hurts me to know you're going to go out and we don't have a solution, because it's much bigger than any one of us in this room, and believe me, we're trying. I think there should be a building that acts as some sort of an overseer that takes a person and not only provides it housing for today, but offers a long-term job training type thing, that when I let you out through the door, you're going to have a job to go to, and not just any job, a job that will sustain you and provide a roof over your head, because we have working poor in this city. We have no housing, we have no jobs, we don't have much of anything, and this is what's happening more and more because of economic downturn in our finances. But we can have a war and send billions overseas and kill people, but we can't protect the people in our very city, never mind in our country. So something is wrong. Something is wrong, and I'm very hurt by what I'm seeing here. But I commend you for standing up for yourself, because that's what you have to do, to empower not just us, but Congress, to bring that money back and keep it into our own people. I can't go next door and feed my neighbor's kids if I can't let my own children go hungry. I can't let my children go hungry and feed your children. That's what we have to be doing. We have to go higher and bring money back into the city for jobs and everything else. People are working 3 jobs. They can't even afford the rents, and they're out on the street. What are they doing now? They're creating more trouble for the police department, because now they're desperate. Now they have to eat. They have to eat, and there's not enough food in the food pantries, and there's not enough housing everywhere. It's a sad, vicious cycle that's going on, and I'm sick of looking at it, and we need to do something instead of just, passing it off and saying, gee, see you later. But I'm sorry, that's how I feel. I could have said nothing, but it's troubling to me because these are human beings and we may be next, and I don't want that to happen. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel.
Councilor Milonazo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for the record, I was not trying to pass anything off. Well, you did, Councilor Mercia. I was not trying to pass anything off. I think these people need action. I think they need answers. I think that we have a number of very good social service agencies that the city manager and others have been working with over the past 30 days. And yes, we absolutely need the winter protocol. We need to raise money, and we're going to do that. And again, get information back to the Housing Subcommittee so that we can move this in the right direction.
Thank you. Manager Lynch?
Just one point on that, Councilor Milonazo's and Councilor Mercia's comments. The winter protocol is in place. It was put back in place through the efforts of a number of people working to support the Transitional Living Center. So that winter protocol is in place as we speak. So just so there's clarification on that.
And it can be in place, but there's 60 beds.
Mr. Duda, would you like to respond to that? You've indicated to me that
there's 60 beds. What happens when that gets filled up? Where were we going to put them?
Well, that clearly is an issue that we're continuing to grapple with.
Issue.
And we did discuss it at this effort, and how we're going to deal with this issue. But it was decided with the assistance of the Transitional Living Center that the best scenario would be to reinstitute the winter protocol at the center, and I was advised as recently as a few days ago that it was back in place. So that's why I've stated that. If I'm.
It is back in place. What I have done is.
Put your microphone, please. Go right to the microphone, please.
I'm Peter Duda. I'm the Executive Director of Lowell Transitional Living Center. We started winter protocol again last night. 13 individuals came. We suspended it today because it's warm, and we're trying to keep the funds for the real, severe cold weather. We are starting it again tomorrow because the weather is dipping down below 35 degrees, probably 31 and into the 20s. So I see it happening over the next few days. We do need, obviously, the funding. We received $3,800 from the Hunger Homeless Committee, which would allow us, that's approximately 1 week's worth of funding. And so we're kind of going as we go, paying as we go in a sense. And that's what we're looking at, and with the efforts of a number of people to raise additional funds, that's what we're looking to continue to do.
Councilor Kazanjian?
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, I brought this motion forward a couple of weeks ago, and Councilor Rita Mercia is absolutely right. We do have to take care of our own, and I think it starts here, but we have to also petition our state delegation and also our congresswoman, and we need some help. We need some financial aid from the federal government and also the state. And I think that's maybe here, this main body here. We petitioned both of them, and hopefully we get some type of financial help to help these individuals. And like Councilor Rita Mercia says, it bothers me that we're helping people all over the world and we can't help our own right here in our city and our country. And there's many, many people that are like these, the homeless people that are here in the city throughout the country. And again, it bothers me also. So, I mean, if we can start here and petition the state delegation and see if we can get, I know money's tight, but see if we can get some type of financial aid for the homeless, and maybe get one building and get some staffing and create some jobs. And I know we have that in place now, but it's not big enough and it's not enough to take care of our needs. So, that's it.
Before we move this ahead and go on to the next agenda item, I just want to make a statement that this city is the most compassionate city in New England. It has never turned its back on anyone. This is referred to the city manager like we refer everything. The City manager has a plan in place. He is working on that plan with staff members, working on this plan tirelessly for a year and a half. We are not putting a blinder to this issue. But in the Lowell Sun editorial, less than a month ago, the Lowell Sun editorialized, it's everyone's responsibility in the Merrimack Valley. It's everyone's responsibility in suburbia. It's a regional issue. A regional issue. The city of Lowell is trying to do everything it can to address this problem. We cannot do it all. And this council, every one of these councilors, have as much compassion for this issue as I do. And so does the Lynch administration, the police department, the fire department. We don't want to see people out in the cold, living in a tent. We don't. And the only way we can address this is have this issue forwarded to the manager, and I know the manager will be working on it tomorrow with his staff members. That's all we can tell you tonight. We don't have a magic wand that's going to produce shelters. We don't. I'm going to be upfront and honest with you. We don't. I don't think any other community has one either. So you're going to have faith and confidence in this mayor, in this council, and in this administration to address the problem. But suburbia has to do their part as well. It's just not a burden that should fall on the city of Lowell. With that said, thank you very much for your attendance. No. Refer this issue to the city manager by a motion by Councilor Milonazo, seconded by Councilor Broderick. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. I would like another suspension of the rules so we can move one item out of sequence. It's the order of taking the sewer line portion of Bernier Street. Motion to suspend the rules by Councilor Milonazo, seconded by Councilor Martin. All in favor of the suspension is signified by saying aye. Any opposed? The suspensions are in order. To take by eminent domain and fee and accept a portion of sewer line on Bernier Street in the city of Lowell for municipal purposes, to wit, portion of Bernier Street sewer line only, taking acceptance of only the private sewer line beneath a portion of Bernier Street, second reading by title, to take by eminent domain and fee and to accept portion of a sewer line on Bernier Street in the city of Lowell for municipal purposes, to wit, portion of Bernier Street sewer line only, taking acceptance of only the private sewer line beneath the portion of Bernier Street. Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian?
Yes.
Councilor Lenzi?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
9 yeas. That's related. Yep.
While we're under suspension, authorizing the city manager on behalf of the city of Lowell to execute two Estepel, I don't know what that word is, agreements for property located 86.1 Bernier Street, Lowell, Mass. All in favor of waiving the full reading by Councilor Kazanjian, second by Councilor Lindsay. The second reading by title, authorizing the city manager on behalf of the city of Lowell to execute two Estepel agreements for property located at 86.1 Bernier Street, Lowell, Massachusetts. Any discussion, any debate? Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just, I mean, I'm quite familiar with signing estoppel certificates in commercial transactions, but I've never seen one come to the city before, and I was just curious as to why, you know, why we need this. I mean, if we're doing the taking, I don't understand why that's not good enough. Or maybe the solicitor could enlighten us on this.
Sent over by DPD. I don't know if Ann Barton is still here or not. Yep. Ann might be able to
Okay.
explain this.
I apologize. I couldn't hear your question, Counselor.
Well, I guess I don't ever recall the need to have to sign this. I mean, we're going to say that we're not going to assert certain rights that the city might otherwise have, and we're doing a taking to establish the sewer lines, and I guess from my point of view that would have been sufficient. So I don't know why we're asked to enter this agreement as well.
Perhaps Attorney Flood can...
Yeah, I think you have more details.
I can probably address that. This is the piece of property that the city sold to Women in Transition.
and they're about to do some financing through the state. And there were some conditions in the deed that said, you know, if they didn't perform, then the city could take it back. This is what the vote is authorizing the manager to sign. The certificate that says there's been no violations. That's basically what it is. So, okay. All right.
It's just for the financing with the state.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That answers my question.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk. I'm sorry. What's the wish of the council?
Move approval.
Move
Yeah.
approval by
Yep.
Council Martin, second by Council Broderick. Any discussion, debate? Roll call.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Councilor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Councilor Lindsay?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
9 yeas.
We're entering the public hearing stage of the agenda. And the first item on the agenda, an ordinance amending Section 2.123 of Lowell Commission on Disability in the City of Lowell. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? In favor, please come to the podium. Give us your name and address. Those wishing to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? That portion of the hearing is closed. Those wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? In opposition? Public hearing is closed. What's the wish of the body?
Move approval.
Move approval by Council Rita Mercia, seconded by Council Broderick. Roll call.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Councilor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Councilor Lindsay?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Next item on the agenda for public hearing is National Grid one pole location on Hall Street. Those wishing to speak in favor, please come to the podium. In favor, is anyone here from National Grid?
You'd have to come in from Germany.
Recess this, Mr. Clerk.
Move
Why
to
don't we
recess.
recess this by Council Arman Mercia, seconded by Councilor Jim Milonazo. The last item on the public hearing agenda is Comcast to place 4-inch PVC from existing manhole 58 Prescott Street. Those wishing to speak in favor, please come to the podium. Give us your name and address, please.
I'm Jody Gaudet with Comcast. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're looking to place a conduit system to provide service to the future residents of 88 Prescott Street, formerly a bank. They're turning it into condos, and we want to make service available and run the line over to that building.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? In favor? Those wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition, public hearing is closed. It's the wish of the body. Move for approval by Council Elliott, seconded by Council Lindsay. Roll call.
Refer this to the
Oh, I'm sorry. Refer that to the wire inspector. I'm sorry. Refer it to the wire inspector by Council Broderick, seconded by Council Lindsay. Unfinished business. To take by eminent domain and fee certain parcels of land in the city of Lowell for municipal purposes, to wit, the layout and acceptance of the following named streets and other municipal purposes associated therewith: Angle Street, Factory Street, and a portion of Manufacture Street. Second reading by title, to take by eminent domain and fee certain parcels of land in the city of Lowell for municipal purposes, to wit, the layout and acceptance of the following named streets and other municipal purposes associated therewith: Angle Street, Factory Street, and a portion of Manufacture Street. What's the wish of the body? Move for approval by Council Broderick, seconded by Council Kazanjian. Roll call.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Councilor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Councilor Lindsay?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Now on the manager's agenda, communications from Manager Lynch. Anyone like to discuss any of those communications? I would, yes, Councilor Milonazo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In our packets, we have an item from the city manager dated December 9th regarding fiscal control measures, which he's given us a date of January 23rd of 2009. In this morning's Globe and Herald, there was talk about a 10% local aid reduction. So again, are we now factoring that into the discussions that we're having? At this particular point?
In your, it was placed on your desk tonight. This is something that we've been talking about, and we just wanted to get it out to the departments to give them an opportunity. It's really in there to get me back some scenarios by the 23rd. There'll be internal scenarios. We've already been discussing a number of different options with various departments, but we've asked all of them now to put together a couple scenarios of 5% and 10% reductions in their budget that we'll use as a basis moving forward when the more formal budget documents are submitted by the departments. I hope to be meeting with the Finance Subcommittee in the near future to talk about some of the forecasts that we're looking at right now with that 10% reduction number. The biggest question we have about the 10% is what's included. If you know, the rough answer, and I think I've put that in that memo to the department heads. You know, if we say it's 10% across the board, that for us would mean a $15 million reduction. What's unclear is whether they're including all of our local aid accounts, or are they exempting certain ones like the Quinn bill, or are they exempting some of the Chapter 70 money. So it's very difficult for us to really pin down exactly what 10% means. And we really won't know that probably until later in January. But in the meantime, we're putting a number of different budget forecasts together and then we're asking for the ideas of the scenarios of what it looks like. You know, and I apologize that you didn't get this ahead of tonight, but I anticipate we can talk about it at the meeting on the 23rd. Is what I've asked them to do really is to go out and look at some creative solutions to the problems that exist. Well, one sort of rule that I've set forth is don't just give me, you know, the most painful cuts or the most visible cuts. We've asked department heads to really be managers of their departments. As I say in the memo, they're entrusted as department heads with delivering the best possible services for the money we have available. So find solutions. There may be solutions that of restructuring within themselves. There may be solutions by looking outside themselves to other departments and seeing whether they could do something differently. There may be solutions that exist in working cooperatively with other communities around us. And there may be solutions that exist in looking to the private sector to see if there are some ideas that exist out there. Let's put everything out on the table and be creative and find solutions. Let's not just look for the quick. And I'm confident the department heads will not just give me the worst possible case scenario and go with that. So we've asked them to do that. They'll be getting it back to us on the 23rd. We want to give them enough time to go out there and do that type of footwork, legwork. That will then come in at about the time we'll know what the administration, the Patrick administration, is putting forward for a local aid resolution, a local aid budget. And then we'll go through our formal process. And of course, as I've stated, we want to work cooperatively with the City Council during all of that process so that we keep the Council up to date and let them know. I'm also anticipating, and again, I'll spell this out in more detail as we move a little bit forward, of I think it's important for us to really keep the public informed and keep the public involved in this process. So we're looking at a public information element that goes with this, as well as the more formal process that we go through here. And it's certainly that the 10% number from Speaker DeMacy is certainly, that's been talked about by a number of people, that sort of number that's been out there. But again, there's questions as to exactly what that means for us.
Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate getting this, Mr. Manager. We have been asking this from the Finance Subcommittee meeting. In your October 29th memo, you do mention, not a strict hiring freeze, but certainly looking at all positions primarily through attrition. How many have we saved through attrition since, since October 29th and probably even
I think
before that?
Since then we've reduced about half a dozen that we haven't moved forward on. There's only a couple, I think, that we've actually, and we have a more formal report that's coming out that we want to give to the council on a monthly basis. So we're preparing that now with HR, and then we'll follow up on that on a monthly basis.
Okay.
We're also doing an analysis right now that I've asked Mr. Moses to put together, looking back over the budgets of the last couple of years. How many positions have been eliminated within the city organization during that period of time? He gave me some sense of those numbers today, and it really is a staggering number of the numbers of. And I know the prior city manager had made a number of cuts as well as the early retirement program that was put in place, where positions were eliminated or cut back. So the city of Lowell, I think, has done quite a bit over the last several years. Since 2003, 2004, with the last round of local aid cuts, to make many of those reductions. But I think the council will be certainly. I know the council is certainly aware of the changes that have taken place, particularly the councilors who've been here for some period of time. And I think the public really needs to see that the belt-tightening that's taken place during the last couple of years since I've been here as city manager, but also under the prior administration as well. That we are doing our best to live within the means we have.
I don't disagree, Mr. Manager, and it's troubling when we do hear these reports from Beacon Hill. However, I mean, it is reality, and it's a consistent message. And as the subcommittee has met with you, I mean, we're also concerned about, and the entire council is concerned about this fiscal year. And you referenced it in your memo about mid-year cuts, and hopefully that won't take place. But 10%, whether it's Chapter 70 or the Quinn bill or charter school reimbursement, I mean, it's still going to be devastating cuts. And I appreciate the fact that we're looking at ways and means now to prepare for the future and anticipate these cuts. But it seems like that 10% is a real number, and we have some serious problems ahead of us.
Yeah, I don't want to say that it is a real number. I don't want to paint a pretty picture here, because it's not a pretty picture at all. It was interesting to see that the Patrick administration didn't buy right into the 10% reduction. So that was, again, I think that there's a lot of moving parts right now up on Beacon Hill. And the other part of it that's interesting, and the mayor and I had a chance to talk about this the other day, is the efforts that are underway by the governors in working with the new Obama administration to see if there's some ways that some of the stimulus money can be channeled back to the states to help with some of those problems. 44 of the states are going to have problems, at least 44 are going to have problems with their budgets this year. And so that's going to have that's another, it's kind of like the auto industry. It's going to have a real drag on the economy if cities and towns and states are looking at the types of problems that, we seem to be looking at.
Councilor Lindsay?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was under the impression that we were going to get that organizational chart this evening, or in our packet this week, with the salaries attached.
With the SMG report.
Yes.
I met with SMG, the solicitor and I, along with some other staff, met with the SMG yesterday. They gave us some of that material. They didn't give us all of that material. We will have that prepared hopefully by tomorrow, and I should be able to have it available to the councilors, so that you'll have it a week ahead of the meeting with the Arena Commission, or it'll go out in the packages on Friday.
So it has not been prepared as of tonight.
They just turned it over yesterday to us, but we were waiting on some additional information today. We wanted copies of their budget that had to be delivered today, and I believe those came in late this afternoon.
And they turned over all the salaries that match the positions?
I believe so, yes. We're still going through that, yes.
Okay.
Councilor Cassandra?
Thank you, Mayor. Will we get that salary report before the special meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, on this hiring freeze that we've been talking about, out of the number of jobs that you haven't replaced, do you intend to replace any of them?
On those that I haven't replaced,
Right.
not in the upcoming fiscal year.
Nothing right now?
No.
If you do, can you bring it forward to the city council, us, before you do that, so we can take a look at it? We're not putting a hiring, I asked for a hiring freeze. You said, you didn't really want that. I'm going to go along with you. But I'd just like to see what you're going to, who you're hiring and what, because things are tight out there.
Yeah, that will all be
And-
included in the report. And I want to be clear on this, because I think that I don't want. Let me put it this way: I don't want to be unclear. I'm not opposed to a hiring freeze. I just want to be honest about it. I think when other organizations talk about a hiring freeze, they call it that, but there's always fine print. I think it leads to a tremendous amount of cynicism when we say, we're putting in a hiring freeze, and then we turn around and we hire someone because they're an essential position. We recognize that there are essential positions.
Well, we were talking about non-essential employees.
Right, and that's basically what we have in place, is a hiring freeze for non-essential positions.
Right.
The question then becomes, well, how do we define essential?
Right.
That's always the big caveat, and I think Councilor Martin spoke to this at the last meeting. There are positions that, for public safety purposes, we need to fill. There are positions by law, by statute, that we have to fill. And there are positions that, very frankly, it wouldn't make sense, fiscal sense, for the city to not fill. If we're talking about going out and dealing with issues of enforcement of the new solid waste code, or if we're talking even about some of the, I want to be careful because I don't want to go on record as saying I'm going to fill a position and then not fill it. But if there are certain positions that, in the long run, it's cheaper for us to fill the position than to add overtime into a number of people and break budgets that way. There's a variety of factors that enter into it. And I think, to the point that Councilor Elliott and I were just talking about, I think when we show you the positions in the city government that have been eliminated over the last, I can only speak for the last 2 years, but I know from talking to department heads even further beyond that, this has been in place for a number of years, that positions just haven't been filled. It's very, I think it shows that a real level of fiscal restraint on the part of city government. But certainly that will all be part of the package that will show you positions that are filled, positions that aren't being filled, and positions that are in question, and we haven't made a decision not to fill them and haven't made a decision to fill them at this point.
All I'm asking is if you could put a memo in our packet, if you do intend to hire someone, and we'll have an idea or knowledge that you are hiring this individual for this particular job.
I defer that.
Is that something that
I want to be careful that we don't enter into any violations of the planning form of
instead of going
government.
for this hiring freeze for non-essential people, with just so we can see what's going on here. We're trying to cut back whatever we possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want, if we have layoffs or increase in taxes, we're trying to cut back, as you know. So,
Councilor, and I am trying to cut back as well. Ultimately, ultimately this ends up on your desk and my desk as to how we solve this.
Right.
And I certainly don't have a problem with providing the council with positions that I've opted to fill. I am hesitant to say this is who I'm about to hire, this is the person who I'm about to hire. I think that enters into a real problem with the planning form of government.
Okay.
But I'll defer. But certainly giving information,
I just basically want to work together on it, and
Absolutely.
like I said, see what we can save.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it comes down to.
I was just going to say, it's clear the motives are everyone's on the same page, but the problem that the manager points to is a real one, and I think technically getting into a position where the manager would be bringing in positions that he's about to fill and presumably for the purpose of getting some sort of council approval would clearly create a problem for councilors participating in that type of hiring decision, where there's clear prohibitions from interfering, promoting hiring, promoting firing, or anything of that kind, which clearly historically remains with the manager. However, as the manager had indicated, the idea of sharing the information and keeping the council apprised of what's going on and the positions that are being filled and those where decisions are made.
That's basically what I'm asking for, like you did with Chris Amaris 2 weeks ago or so. You gave us a memo, you showed us why you hired him and what you're saving, and that's pretty much what we're looking for.
Again, I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Councilor.
Any other discussion? I think what the manager's saying and what the council is saying, no people hired that are unwarranted, and only essential personnel. And I think we have to tighten our belt and for every corner of this building. And When I went to the State House with Tom Moses and we had a meeting with Lieutenant Governor Murray and the governor's staff, I asked that question, local aid. And they didn't want to go near that, and they didn't know at that point in time. But I'm going to tell you, I've been here over 20 years, and I've never seen it, the financial picture that's in front of me is bad. And if the Speaker of the House indicated they're going to cut 5 to 10%, we're probably looking at 8%. That's $12 million. And the school department's going to get hit, the municipal side of government's going to get hit, and we're going to have to do everything humanly possible to work together and roll up our sleeves and provide the services that the people in the city deserve and need. Except, Councilman Martin.
I'm on a different topic, but still under communications from the manager, if we're done with that topic. Mr. Manager, there's this is a kind of a general question about these, how the e-responses, I guess, are being handled. I mean, I'm looking at one, it's of interest to me, but it's about a dump truck perhaps being parked illegally on Agawam Street. And I think the mayor's office does a very good job when these things come in. They get circulated to all the councilors. But when there's a response that's formed and goes out, I don't think we get that. And so I don't know, as we sit here, whether this has been dealt with or not. And I don't think it's part of the protocol that we do get notified. So, so if that's not in place, I'd like to see something in place about things like this.
Andy?
Council, that on that Agawam Street one specifically, that has been is in the process of being dealt with. The police department looked into that, determined that or acted on the basis of their jurisdiction. There is jurisdiction also with the Inspectional Services Department, so that's being evaluated now by Inspectional Services. In terms of the bigger question or the bigger picture of the response back and closing the loop for the councilors, we can certainly do a better job with that, and I'll make sure that we take care of that in the future.
All right. Thank you.
Councilor Lindsay?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's a good point. I think I read probably a response this week by Adam Backey regarding, I think it was the Hamilton Canal District, and I was kind of interested in reading the response and seeing where it's at. I don't think we do get a lot of response about a lot of the other issues that, or questions that are emailed in to us, yeah.
Yeah. Manager Lynch?
I think one of the issues is, generally speaking, they come in to the, those are, we have a couple of different eGov things. We have the eGov system that we use that's in place that we use internally, but also residents can go in and actually log in their complaint or their question, and it gets funneled off. But then when some go directly in as emails to the city council through the mayor's office, some of those make their way to us, some go directly to my office, some go directly to the departments. I think we need to fine tune that, and I think that's what we'll work on with the mayor's office to make sure that that goes, probably gets linked into the, we'll set up a system to do that, though.
But Councilor Lindsay's right, and that's what kind of triggered my mind about it too, because I saw I think it was a draft response that Mr. Bakey prepared, right. And I said, geez, we don't usually see this, you know, and here I am wondering about this dump truck up in my neighborhood here. So, so thank you.
I'm almost certain that my office, the mayor's office, anything that comes in here pertaining to an obstruction or a neighborhood issue or anything pertaining to the services that people deserve, and it's referred to the manager. I know Diane Banowski and Mike Paglia immediately send it over to the manager's office.
I know that we get quite a bit, and we just need to put a system together to track all of those, because I know that I get a number of those that come through.
Yeah, I just want to follow up. I mean, more often than not, if it comes to me, then I'll send it to
right.
you. So maybe it'd be helpful if the problem's already addressed. That'll circumvent more email traffic.
Any other discussion on communications from the manager? Accept the communications placed on file by Council Broderick, seconded by Council Michael Lindsay. All in favor, accepting the communications placed on file, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? They are accepted and placed on file. We have one request for out-of-state travel, and I want to express that this cost is not coming out of the taxpayer, it's coming out of NIMLEC, and it's a request from Washington, D.C. to furnish the President Barack Obama his inauguration with police officers from the country that are doing this, and there's no cost to the taxpayer. Any discussion or debate on it?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city manager, there is no cost to the city, but I'm wondering if we then in turn have to, are those police officers not on duty at that time so that we don't have to fill their shift or whatever?
There may be some that are on duty that we will have to shift. We don't have to fill every single shift that opens up. I've spoken to the chief about this, and he's indicated that he's going to hold that so that there's no cost to the city.
Well, I'm proud
now,
to
there may be some specific that he may have to fill given circumstances that evening, but or that day and night. But we felt that it was part of a regional approach to solve
I think it's a good thing. Yes, thank you.
And I don't think it'd be wise for us to say no. If they requested them, those police officers, we want help from Washington. Okay, a roll call on the request for out-of-state travel.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Councilor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Councilor Lenzi?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
9 yes.
Moving on with the agenda. Vote approving the 229 Stebbins Street Economic Opportunity Area, whereas the City of Lowell desires to establish an economic opportunity area at the parcel located at 229 Stebbins Street in order to make tenants in that area eligible for benefits under state economic development incentive programs. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Milonazo. All in favor, we're waiving the full reading, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Full reading has been waived. Second reading by title, approving the 229 Stebbins Street Economic Opportunity Area. Any discussion or debate? Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Manager, how does this economic opportunity area come about? Is it just this one section? Are there other areas in the city that we're looking at? What is the process? I mean, I know this company is looking to expand, and there's another vote coming up to grant them a TIF. But how do these economic opportunity areas come up?
Well, it's a combination. I'll let Ann Barton from the DPD, the Deputy Director, get into the specifics. But generally, there are sections of the city certainly that we try to designate as an economic opportunity area so that any business, so we can focus particular business activity in those areas. But in addition to that, there are occasions where a new area will open up, and they sit down with the DPD staff, and there's determinations made as to whether it's in the best interest of the city. And certainly we're trying to increase as much economic activity as we can, which in one of the means of doing that is the TIF program and the tax credit program of the state, which only becomes eligible in those economic opportunity areas. But Ann, if you have anything to add.
Just to expand on that a little bit, it all started with the city being designated as an economic target area. And then these various categories, economic opportunity area, as the manager said, we try to look at the best locations for businesses to locate, expand, and as they come in, we've addressed them most recently, per parcel. So wherever these are the types of incentives that we can offer businesses. These are the reasons we hope that they choose Lowell to locate their businesses, and we work with the state to take it through the steps of the process.
I guess I'm just curious, because shouldn't businesses be coming first, and then, we designate this first, and then they start construction? I mean, the building's pretty well under construction, correct?
Well, originally, when the economic target areas, and we did establish several EOAs with sort of a plan in mind and a hope that certain areas, businesses would approach us, and I'm talking maybe about a decade ago. As those areas, their time lapsed, we've addressed it as the businesses have come to us. So Stedman Street, sometimes projects get started, we start a line of communication, it takes time, timelines often need to be considered, someone maybe 5 steps ahead of what we're able to do in this process, but we're anxious to help them in any way we can, so we work through this process with them.
And I appreciate it, don't get me wrong, but this business is going to be here anyway. You follow, correct? I mean, we're granting a TIF for a business that has already, I think, has been under construction, or maybe.
Right. Generally, these are, I think the more standard is that they come and they make the decision whether to even locate in the city and whether to build on a site ahead of time. But I'll ask Maria if she could.
I mean, I think we need, and don't get me wrong, I think we need as many jobs as we possibly can. I'm just trying to find out what the process is.
That would
and
typically
you
be
can
the
understand businesses saying, well, wait, this business was coming. I mean, it's under construction, and now they're applying for a TIF, which to get these jobs and this revenue in here, that's a good thing. I'm just trying to find out what the process is.
Right.
Yeah, Councilor, if you look at the map, there is a map with the economic opportunity area application. You're going to notice that the EOA is actually a parcel-based EOA. So only includes the 229 Stedman Street parcel. And the EOA application started with actually a letter of intent from a business looking to locate and create jobs. The state only allow us to create economic opportunity area if they're actually existing businesses looking to expand within that area and create jobs and bring economic development and private investment to the area.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Move approval.
Move approval by Council Armin Mercier, seconded by Council Broderick. Roll call.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian?
Present.
Councilor Lenzi?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Armin Mercier?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercier?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 present.
Moving on with the agenda, approving a certified project application for Pride Star EMS Incorporated and authorizing a tax increment financing agreement for Kennedy Place Trust. Motion to waive the full reading by Council Rita Mercier, seconded by Council Armin Mercier. All in favor of waiving the full reading, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Full reading's been waived. Second reading by title, approving a certified project application for Pride Star EMS Incorporated and authorizing a tax increment financing agreement for Kennedy Place Trust. Any discussion, debate? Council Rita Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Although people at home don't probably know the more information that we have, I'd just like to share what's going on right here. And it seems that it's a $1.8 million investment. It would retain 40 workers and create 50 new jobs. It's a 10-year period that they would be getting this TIF. Its Pride Star will save $56,900, but they'll generate $269,000 within the 10 years for an average of $27,000 a year. So I think it's a wonderful situation here, and I support this.
So you move for approval by
Yes.
Council Rita Mercier, seconded by Council Armin Mercier. Roll call.
Councilor
Sorry, Council Martin.
If I could just follow it, in that is additional tax revenue than would otherwise exist today without this development. So I think there is a common misconception about these TIFs that people are getting a, kind of a sweetheart deal, but people are making a significant investment. It's going to make their property worth more and therefore taxed more. So the break is not on what the taxes are today. It's what they might otherwise be. And I think it's also important to point out that because Lowell is the one of the places in the state where you can do this, it also sometimes generates other tax credits. Maybe not for this one, but particularly for manufacturing companies. They're able to leverage other tax credits and bring jobs here. So in spite of what some people think about these agreements, I think generally they're overwhelmingly a positive thing. It leads to new development, new jobs here in the city. And
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Michael Lindsay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I also think, if somebody's going to come in and spend $1.8 million on construction and a building and create jobs, that the city has to watch out for them and make sure that they stay in the city and help them to be successful. I think that's how we build a reputation of being business-friendly, and I think we're measured in how long the businesses sustain themselves in the city rather than how many different businesses we can bring into the city. So I think these tips are important in helping businesses to sustain themselves above and beyond just locating in the city.
Councilor Broderick?
Thank you. Yeah, I see these as a win-win. In this situation here, this is a significant investment, and it also provides that if they leave, the TIF is gone as well. So they're signing on for 10 years as well, which is great. They're going to stay here, and talked about hopefully job creation of 50 jobs, new jobs, and looking at the chart and the information that was provided to us, these are well-paying jobs. These are the type of jobs we want to bring into the city, and this is definitely a win-win for the city, and we'll keep them around for a while.
I know the exact location on Stebbins Street. It was a vacant piece of property. No one was ever going to build there. Plus the fact, when that business does open, they're going to more or less go to the businesses on Stebbins Street and support them as well. So any other discussion? Roll call.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian?
Present.
Councilor Lenzi?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 present.
Vote authorizing the city manager on behalf of the city of Lowell to accept a gift from an anonymous donor of a 2007 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 crew cab 4x4 truck, vehicle identification number 2GCEK13M171618477 for use by the City of Lowell Fire Department. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Milonazo, seconded by Councilor Rita Mercia. All in favor of waiving the full reading, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The full reading's been waived. Second reading by title, authorizing the city manager on behalf of the City of Lowell to accept a gift from an anonymous donor of a 2007 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 crew cab 4x4 truck, vehicle identification number 2GCEK13M171618477 for use by the City of Lowell Fire Department. Any discussion, any debate? It's like taking a reading test here. Any roll call?
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian?
Yes.
Councilor Lenzi?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
9 yeas.
We've already taken care of the estoppel agreement on Gurney Street, so that's been done. An ordinance. An ordinance adopting and enacting a new code for the City of Lowell, Massachusetts, a code providing for the repeal of certain ordinances not included therein, providing a penalty for the violation thereof, providing for the manner of amending such code, and providing when such code and this ordinance shall become effective. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Mike Lindsay, seconded by Councilor Bill Martin. Second reading by title, an ordinance adopting and enacting a new code for the City of Lowell, Massachusetts, the code providing for the repeal of certain ordinances not included therein, providing a penalty for the violation thereof, providing for the manner of amending such code, and providing when such code and this ordinance shall become effective. This will be going to a public hearing December 23rd, if the council approves. Motion to send it to a public hearing on December 23rd by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Lindsay. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. We're into
Subcommittees, if any.
We're into petitions. Miscellaneous, any subcommittee reports? I'm sorry. Councilor Milonazo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Economic Development Subcommittee met last Tuesday to get an update from the administration regarding the early parking garage relative to the retail space, as well as we received an update, and we actually do have some updated numbers in our packet this evening regarding the early parking garage itself. I'm pleased to say it was a positive meeting. We did hear from the Edge Group, who notified us that Garcia Brogan's Pub, they were signing the lease on Thursday, December 4th. Architectural engineering plans are in process, and construction is expected to begin in 60 to 90 days. We also had in attendance representing Dr. Anshu Goul, who is with Merrimack Valley Dental Care, and we authorized by vote of the subcommittee to continue lease negotiations. They're looking at leasing about 1,900 square feet of space for a new dental office on Middlesex Street, and that negotiation is ongoing now as well, and we expect about 120 days for lease signing. Regarding the Brazilian restaurant that we had talked about in the past through the subcommittee, it's been getting a little bit more challenging, I guess is the way they described it the night we met, but they continue to discuss hopefully opening up a Brazilian restaurant in between 6,000 to 8,000 square feet of space. So that being said, at the end of the day, we could have about 2,500 square feet of space left to be leased. So again, that's a report of progress on the retail space. In your packet, as I mentioned, we were provided through Tom Moses from Chuck Carney the numbers for the first quarter of the parking garage, not only the early garage, but the overall operation of the parking department. And without getting into too much detail, we're actually ahead of schedule on the early garage, and we're looking at what we thought would be a loss of $192,000. We actually have a small profit of $11,000. So things look very good in the parking department at this particular point in time. So again, unless my colleagues want to add anything, that's a report of progress.
Council Martin?
Just briefly, that Councilor Milanazzo accurately, I think, points out that the revenue from the early garage is ahead of what we expected at this time, and in fact, the revenue is covering the operating expenses at that garage right now. Doesn't cover when you factor in the debt service. However, when you factor in the debt service, the whole garage operation is still self-sustaining. And this came up at the meeting that this is what the council intended, that the parking department would operate as an enterprise fund and that the revenues generated would cover the expenses, including the debt, not on a garage-by-garage basis, but across the whole operation. And that is occurring today. So I think it's good news that we have usage is up from projections on the newest garage, the early garage, but also that at least the plan to build that garage is in keeping with what the council intended, that the revenues from the garage are going to cover the expenses from the garages, I should say. The revenues from all the garages are covering the expenses, and there is no additional burden on the taxpayer.
Any other discussion on the report that was brought forward by the Economic Subcommittee? If not, accept the report as report of progress by Councilor Lindsay, seconded by Councilor Kazanjian. All in favor? The report has been accepted and placed on file. Any other reports, subcommittee reports? If not, I'll go into petitions. A petition by Joseph Fortes, 36 Iowa Street, requests no parking sign, referred to traffic engineer by Councilor Ahmed Mercier, seconded by Councilor Martin. We ought to take care of that. Olympus Bakery, 214 Broadway Street, requests a 15-minute parking space, referred to the traffic engineer by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Broderick. Attorney James Flood Jr. for Tremont Yard LLC, 257 Father Morissette Boulevard, requests easement for sewer utility connections. Refer. Let me see. What are we going to? What's it? Refer that to the Law Department by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Lindsay.
Can I be recorded as present on that?
Excuse me?
I'd be recorded as present on that vote.
Councilor Martin is being present.
So would I.
And Councilor Ahmed Mercier. And Councilor Milanazzo. Anyone else? Okay. The Luke Caveney, 20 Osgood Avenue, requests preference for employment for Lowell Fire Department, referencing House Bill number 4259, referred to the Law Department by Councilor Ahmed Mercier, seconded by Councilor Kazanjian.
In order to draw up the proper motion to bring back to us, is that
Yes.
my understanding that would take place?
We would be reviewing it, giving a recommendation,
Okay.
and bringing it back.
Thank you.
The next petition is Paul and Joanna Freitas, Frodis, 20 Manhattan Street, request handicap sign, referred to the traffic engineer by Councilor Lindsay, seconded by Councilor Elliott. Let me see. Mass Alliance of HUD Tenants requests city resubmit vote governmentally involved housing. And that's a good issue, and motion to refer that to the manager, get it on the agenda so we can vote on that again by Council Lindsay, seconded by Council Broderick. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Passes. One claim referred to the Law Department by Councilor Kazanjian, seconded by Councilor Rita Mercia. We are now into the motions. Motion by Councilor Rita Mercia, request the City Council Public Safety Subcommittee meet with the Police Department to develop a strategy for implementing measures to make city business employees and customers safer, seconded by Councilor Lindsay. On the motion?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It troubled me deeply when that young man never returned home to his family, but got viciously stabbed to death, and I'm very heartbroken by it. And I know that it's tough to say, Mr. Manager and the police department, let's develop a way to make businesses safer, because I think that we kind of do the best that we can. And I want to compliment right at this time the rapid speed at which our police department apprehended the suspect, the alleged suspect in that vicious attack. And I'm thinking about what actually happened at that business, and I want this council to give teeth to the police department, and this is the reason I make a motion such as this, that we could come together to develop strategy and ways and means by which we can make this a better city with laws in the books. And I had two so-called motions that I withdrew because it was almost like a means to target certain businesses and hold them accountable and make them do things to their business that it was like forcing them to do it. And I'm not here, sitting here, to try to burden our businesses. No, I wouldn't want to do that. I don't want to burden anybody or mandate something that would put our businesses in a bind. But the two very motions that I was going to make in regards to this issue, I read the paper yesterday, and those very two motions are being addressed in Lawrence. It's the same thing, and I'm taken aback by that, because I'm just going to tell you what I think. I firmly believe that when there are 3 or more vicious, violent attacks, that a business should be requested through law to make some sort of a commitment for the safety of the public as well as their employees. By that I mean maybe they should install cameras or hire a security guard. And I think that's something we could look around and revisit this with the Public Safety Subcommittee. I'm not on that subcommittee, but I'd be willing to sit in and discuss it, ways and means to help the police. This is merely the gist of the motion, to help the police. I also look upon people that pull permits to open up a business, and if they're in the habit of cashing checks or dealing with large sums of money, I think they should be required through some sort of an ordinance to require them to have a surveillance camera for the safety. I think, I take you to an issue that was in the paper that stated 3 businesses along Mammoth Road got robbed not too long ago, within a month. And I know one of the women that owns a hair salon on Mammoth Road, and 4 people went in there and robbed her of $400. Now, I think that if she had a camera out there, maybe she wouldn't get her $400 back, but she certainly would know that these people are on her video camera. Or would they go by and say, gee, guys, I don't think we ought to rob this place. They got a camera and we may be seen. These are the things that I think we could come up with to try to help businesses, not to hurt businesses. I'm alluded to the fact where you have a bank in the city and they hire a security company, and when you go there, you're greeted by this security man, the security guard, and you feel a lot more safer. But I don't want to mandate and say that, yeah, everybody that has a bank has to do that. But I think they're in a position where they could afford it. I don't want to burden anybody, but I think These are things that we could talk about in a public safety subcommittee. Maybe we ban and pull out all payphones in the city. Maybe they're only a means of passing drug information back and forth. Or let's call on the payphone, it won't be traced, and we'll pick up the drugs down the street or whatever. Maybe we should pull them out where everybody seems to have a cell phone now. Maybe that's one of the possibilities. I'm also looking at the newspaper that says Mr. X was arrested for breaking into a Central Street business on Saturday morning and released on bail and arraigned and released again. But before the close of the day, he was back behind bars for committing the same crime again, only this time the robbery was at a new address, stolen rings, video cameras. This is what I want to refer to the Public Safety Subcommittee. What can we do? Can we now notify the judges and say, what's up with this? You know, don't let this be a revolving door and let people in and out, in and out. Let's be a little bit more vigilant and not send a message that, you know what, so commit the crime 3 and 4 times. You're not going to go to jail anyway. Oh, my goodness, there's no room in jail because we're going to have to double bunk poor Johnny. Well, the people in our troops are under a tent in the war, but we don't want to double bunk poor Johnny, my God. But so I'm thinking maybe we can refer all these things to the Public Safety Subcommittee and see if the police could sit down with us and let's revisit that motion that was made to get the Attorney General down here and see if we could, what can we do as a council to reinforce laws and give teeth to the police department? Because these are violent crimes and it's for the safety of the people working there as well as their customers. I don't know if we can allow video cameras inside and out. I don't know if we can say that, I'm not trying to say that Mary's needlepoint down on Central Street needs a video camera. I don't think someone's going to go in there and risk being stabbed to death by Mary with a yarn tool or whatever. But it's just so frightening. Every time we're reading the paper, it's a tragedy after a tragedy, and I'm trying to find ways and means of offering the best suggestion. And I think if I had a business, I would be putting the video cameras up. I really would. Maybe I lost my money, but we're going to get this guy that did it. So that's the gist of the motion.
Manager Lynch?
Councilor, let me just tell you that the police department generally does work with the businesses that have crimes that take place. They worked with certainly Santoros is an example of that. The 7-Eleven out at the corner of Chelmsford and Westford is another one that they worked with earlier on. They've had, obviously since this event, they've had another meeting that did have some very positive outcomes that the chiefs advised me of. I think it would be a wonderful idea to have them come to the Public Safety Subcommittee and speak to that. We've also had discussions regarding payphones, perhaps not so much banning them citywide, but working with businesses to remove them where they are problems, but even exploring the possibility of doing it citywide. And then lastly, we have been in touch with the district attorney. He is interested in coming and meeting with the Public Safety Subcommittee to talk about this issue, so we can certainly schedule that and have the department come and talk about many of these issues. I think it's a wonderful motion.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Manager. And how frustrating it is for our police officers to bring someone to court, apprehend them, and they're out the next day laughing in the face of the police department. That has to be, devastating. That has to be mind-boggling to people that work so very hard to get this thug off the road, to have them smiling in their face again the next day. It's frustrating.
I think it's a wonderful idea to get the Public Safety Subcommittee involved, maybe the council as a whole. But I think you're going to like what Chief LaValle has to say, what he's going to bring forward. I think he has a wonderful plan. And I'll tell you, the Chief LaValle and the entire police department took that crime that happened on Chester Street to heart. I'm going to tell you that. They were devastated by that crime.
That's right.
And that store has video cameras. And 6:30 in the morning, it was senseless. Who can tell you what happened? I don't know. But you're right, Council, the Lowell Police Department worked tirelessly, and they have a suspect, an alleged suspect, and I think you're going to be happy what Chief LaValle has to say.
Thank you.
Motion, vote to accept the motion brought forward by Councilor Rita Mercer. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And before I get to Councilor Broderick's motion, we did take your motion out of
That's all right.
sequence. Motion by Councilor Rita Mercer. City Council requests the city manager have the law department draw the proper vote for a 60-day trial handicap parking at 1011 Central Street, seconded by Councilor Mercer.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. That motion does speak for itself. However, I want to say for the record that the person that I'm requesting for has brought in a handicap placard to prove that they actually are disabled, and that has to go along with it, sure.
All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Motion by Councilor Broderick. Request that the City Council review its current public safety ordinances, curfew ordinance, loitering ordinance, and explore the possibility of creating a knife ordinance, seconded by Councilor Elliott on the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was an idea that Sergeant Peasley had mentioned to me that some other cities have as a knife ordinance. In discussions with this terrible tragedy that happened, actually, the motion was filed just after, I believe. I'm losing track of time. We had a couple weeks off. To try and give the same thought process here is to try and give the police some teeth. We can't necessarily go out and hire more police to help. So I think it's been a while since some of these ordinances have been looked at comprehensively. And our best resource, I think, is our own police department, the chief, and the people in, it's not called the gang unit anymore, but I think response unit, that are out there on the streets every day. That, and I believe it's been proven in other communities that these knife ordinances would deal with different weapons. I think it's, depending on where the city is, it's over 3 inches. That it's proven that it has reduced the crime with knife down the road, and it's something I think it's worth looking at and asking the chief to maybe refer this to the Public Safety Subcommittee as well, and look at all the ordinances to see what can be tweaked to help the police out. You know, from loitering to curfew, and I don't know if they need to be adjusted, but it's something that I think it's worth reviewing and getting some input, because, you know, we're certainly not going to be able to put more police out there, so anything we can do to assist them and help down the road reduce crime, I think, is going to be important. Thank you.
Okay, both motions are really tremendous, and I feel strongly that this is such a serious issue. We should have a meeting with the council as a whole, let the police chief and the police department bring forward the plans, and I think this is a very important issue, and we have to step to the plate on this. It's ridiculous, it's out of control, and what happened to that poor man at 7-Eleven was cynical, and our hearts go out to his family. All in favor of the motion presented by Councilor Broderick signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. The last motion of the evening by Councilor Mercier. Request manager consider police precinct at Edward Early Garage, seconded by Councilor Bill Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A while back, when we were talking about marketing the garage, I had suggested that that particular strip in the jam area, that street, I think would be enhanced tremendously with a police precinct located someplace. Now, I mentioned the Eddie Early Garage as an ideal spot for it. However, I'm looking at wherever you can consider locating it, if not there, at least in that general vicinity, because I think that'll assure the businesses in the area, and particularly when there is an awful lot of traffic and activity in that street, that I think a police precinct there could go a long way, as it does in other places.
Manager Lynch?
Councilor, I agree completely. I know we did look at the early garage, and then the chief was working with some of the area property owners that were interested in having it a little bit farther down. I'd have to get a report from him or get an update on where he was with that, but we'll get that report back as soon as possible.
Yeah, just I mentioned the Eddie Early Garage, but if that's feasible, if not, in that general area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Definitely. An excellent location as well.
Yeah.
Any other discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Anything else to discuss?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did get something in our packet regarding a request by Chancellor Mann to replace someone from the someone is requested to replace someone from the Arena and Civic Commission and appoint Judge Eliades. Did we have to do something with that?
No, that's the Chancellor's appointment entirely. The university gets 3 seats on the Arena Commission, and he gets to choose who those are. There's no city council. That's just for information purposes.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
Councilor Elliott?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to make note, I should have done this at communications, but University Bridge, an update on the bridge, when it'll be opening. Do you want to give that, Mr. Manager? Because I'm sure it'll be well received clearly by those folks that travel each day across the bridge from Pawtuckaville and Centerville, but
It's you may recall that we gave a report to the council a while back that the state had come out and made some additional requirements of us, and we felt that it was incumbent upon us to do that work then as opposed to having to go through the whole process again. But we're now looking that the steel work is to be completed by December 15th. Then they have to go through and do the final repairs and site cleanup. It should be complete by around Christmas Eve.
time, right.
So we look upon this as sort of a Christmas present to the
people in
residents of the city.
Pawtuckaville will
That's right.
appreciate that Christmas present, believe
Yeah,
me.
we were a couple weeks later than what we wanted,
Right.
but we're far better off getting the work done now, and I appreciate the opportunity to give that. Thank you, Councilor.
Before we adjourn, I would like to take this moment to thank the city employees at City Hall and many other employees throughout the city who took a request up a tree to help children in the Salvation Army. And if anyone would like to go into the mayor's office, you cannot believe what the employees in this building have purchased. Clothing, toys, etc. You can't get in the mayor's office. So my heart goes out to the employees of this great city. And also, the mayor's holiday reception will be held this Sunday at the Senior Center. Everyone's welcome. There'll be a light lunch, great entertainment, and a special visit by Santa Claus at 3 o'clock, sponsored by the City of Lowell Senior Center, Comcast, and the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce. This is not coming out of the taxpayers' pocket.
I would just like to correct a statement that was made early on by this woman that lives on Gorham Street regarding the Salvation Army. I don't want anybody to think that the money that is collected by the Salvation Army is going to fund some band out of town. That is absolutely not true. We happen to know what the Salvation Army does and what they do with their money, and it certainly does not go out of town to sponsor some Salvation Army band. I just want to clarify that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for bringing that forward. And anyone in the Salvation Army band, whether it's in Lowell, Houston, Duluth, they're all volunteers who perform, and I love to hear that band. They're just amazing. And 87 cents of every dollar that's collected goes directly to people in need. And that was a horrendous statement to be made. So, anything else to discuss? If not, motion to adjourn by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Lindsay. Thank you for a great meeting.